There's an old house in the quiet town of a hollow ridge. A house nobody buys, nobody breaks into, and nobody ever talks about for long. People simply call it the Remembering House. Not because it remembers people, but because people say the house remembers itself. Every moment, every year, every tragedy. And sometimes it makes you remember with it. Evan Grant wasn't the type to believe in town legends. He was a traveling photographer. One of those calm, patient types, some who hunted for abandoned places to capture authentic decay. When he heard about the Remembering House, he thought it would be perfect for his new project. The locals warned him not to stay long, not to touch anything, and definitely not to go inside after sunset. Evan laughed it off. He arrived in the afternoon. The house stood alone at the end of a crooked dirt road, untouched by time. The windows were dark, the boards warped, but strangely, nothing was broken. Not a single pane of glass, no vandalism, no signs of teenagers testing courage. It was as though the house refused to let anything inside disturb it. Evan stepped in through the front door. The air felt heavy, like the house was exhaling after being alone for too long. He started taking photos. Old chairs, faded wallpaper, a staircase curving upward like a spine. But when he checked the shots, something was off. In every picture, the furniture looked a little different than what he'd just seen with his own eyes. A chair turned slightly, a lamp lit when it wasn't plugged in, a shadow on the wall shaped like a person sitting down. Evan thought it was just the light, until he took a fourth photo. This time the entire room looked new. Polished floors, clean furniture, and a family sitting at the table, smiling directly at the camera. A family that wasn't there. Evan lowered the camera. The room was empty again. He stepped back, breathing hard. Okay, maybe I need a break. He walked into the hallway, but the boards creaked behind him. Slow, steady footsteps. He turned. No one. But the house felt different now. Awake. He checked his watch. Afternoon sunlight still streamed through the windows. He was safe. For now. Evan moved upstairs, telling himself the second floor would have better shots. But as he climbed, the air grew warmer, like someone had turned up an invisible heater. Halfway up, he noticed something strange. Every picture frame on the wall held the same photograph. A hallway that looked exactly like the one he stood in. Except in each picture, the hallway stretched a little farther, and at the very end of it, in the shadows, a figure was standing. A tall figure, unmoving. Evan felt a cold pulse crawl up his spine. Nope, absolutely not. He tried to go back down the stairs, but the stairs weren't behind him anymore. The hallway stretched on both sides, long and dark, just like in the pictures. The house was rearranging itself. Evan's breath quickened. He knew he had to stay calm. He'd been lost in forests before, stranded on mountains. He could handle one old house. He walked forward with slow, careful steps. The hallway lights flickered. Lights that shouldn't have worked. With each flicker, the walls looked newer, cleaner. The carpet brightened. The house was repairing itself around him, room by room, memory by memory. Whispers drifted from behind the doors. Stay. Don't leave yet. We remember you. Evan shook his head. I'm not part of your memories. I'm leaving now. But then he heard a soft, fragile voice. Dad? Evan froze. It sounded like his daughter who lived miles away. His daughter he hadn't seen in weeks. Oh, no, Evan whispered. You're not real. He opened the nearest door just to prove it. Inside was a child's room. Bright, clean, full of toys. A room that should not exist in a house abandoned for decades. And on the bed, sat a little girl with long hair covering her face. "Daddy, why won't you come home?" Evan's heartbeat hammered in his ears. "You're not her. You're not my daughter." The girl lifted her head. Her face wasn't wrong. It wasn't deformed. It wasn't monstrous. It was just blank. Like someone trying to remember what a face looked like but forgetting the details. The girl tilted her head. "Stay. The house likes you." The door slammed shut behind him. Evan backed away until he hit the wall. No, I'm leaving. You can't keep me." The girl stood up, her movements jerky, like puppeted by invisible strings. The house remembers everyone, and now it remembers you. The room dissolved around him, peeling into darkness like burnt paper, and suddenly, Evan was standing in the living room again, except now the house looked brand new. People walked through the halls, smiling, talking, laughing, completely unaware that he was there. A memory. The house was showing him one of its memories. He saw the same family from his photographs. A father, mother, and child sitting together. But the father's face flickered, glitching between different shapes, like the house was copying the wrong image. The mother looked toward Evan, directly at him. "We are not ghosts," she said. "We are the house." The room began to crumble, walls bending, floors twisting. Evan stumbled toward the door, but the house wasn't letting him out. Memories blurred and folded around him like a maze. He grabbed the doorknob, twisted. The house screamed. Not a voice, a sound of metal groaning, wood splintering, glass shattering. But the door opened. Evan burst into the daylight, running down the dirt road without looking back. When he finally reached town, people stared at him with wide eyes. One elder stepped forward. "You escaped," she whispered. "The house doesn't forget often." Evan shook his head. "I'm never going back." The elder looked at him with pity. "You don't have to," she said softly. "But it will come back for you." "Why?" The elder's voice dropped. "Because once the house remembers you, you become one of its memories."